My name is Mel Faulkner. I'm the project coordinator of Forget-Me-Not's Nanna Project in Uganda. This is the story of the Nanna Project. It's a lovely story, one of fun, opportunities, connection, family, love, thriving children, and hope. Before I first left for East Africa in 2007, I was warned that there was almost a complete generation that had been wiped out. Despite this warning, I was not prepared for what I found during those first 6 weeks. I found a world where HIV/AIDS, fatal accidents, and other diseases had shattered families. A world where many parents had been tragically lost. In this world, I met many elderly grandmothers who were the sole carers for masses of children. These women are seen to be doing their duty, but it's not an easy life. I heard stories from women with deep-seated fears about where the next meal would come from. Women who told me when you are worried about being able to feed those in your care, education is definitely out of reach. Life in Uganda is tough, and the reality is that without an education, options are limited and a cycle of poverty continues. When there is no hope of a brighter future, tough choices are often made. Girls might marry young, boys might turn to crime, options are limited, and the cycle continues. Families become fearful of this fate for their beloved children and may take desperate measures such as giving them to traffickers who promise the world, but where the reality is very different, much like the children from the other Forget-Me-Not projects. During that first trip to Uganda, I heard of a notion that education is the key to change. That if people were educated and could read and write, then they had a power for change. Not everyone will become doctors or pilots or engineers. Some will stay in the village and farm like their ancestors before them, and that is great. Having an education, even a basic one, will help in matters of business, decision-making, and protection against corruption. In fact, it is a lack of knowledge and skills and the confidence that comes from these that allows corruption to continue and to thrive. It was from hearing these ideas and feeling the truth within them that has made education the focus of the Nanna Project. That is the tragic part of the story, the reality for so many. But now for the children and families of the Nanna Project, there is a new story, and that is what I want to share with you now. In those early days in 2007, I met an elderly woman. Her name was Zowena, and she was caring for several young grandchildren. None of them were in school. I paid for 3 of those children to go to primary school for 6 months. I left Uganda shortly after this, knowing that it wasn't enough, wondering what happens when that 6 months is over, what happens to the other children in that family, or those in families like theirs. When I returned to Uganda 6 months later, with funds from sponsors, I was able to keep those 3 children in school, as well as send the rest from that family, and others from families like theirs too. The Nanna Project was born. The aim of the project is to provide access to education for children from vulnerable families. But what happens is so much more than school fees and books. The regular payment of school fees ensures that children are not chased from school and are able to enjoy an uninterrupted education at a quality school in their area. Each day there are opportunities for growth and for learning. All of the Nanna Project children receive 2 meals each day. These meals supplement what the children receive at home and alleviate a fear that they might feel hungry in the evening. The Nannas also know this, and when the food is less at home, they know they can share out what they have with the knowledge that the kids have eaten during the day, and that they are not failing in their duty to care and provide. Stationery packs are received with joy each new term. Somewhere to write where before they did not know how. Having the required stationery also means that the children will not be chased from school with demands that they only return when they have this book or that. There is no risk of stigma from peers or teachers that they do not have, so they do not belong. The provision of school uniforms and other school clothing items provides a feeling of connection and belonging to the school community and to learning. When the children put on their school uniforms, they do so with pride. You have never seen a container of shoe polish disappear so quickly. or such shiny shoes. As nanas, mothers, and aunts watch their children walk off to school in those uniforms, they too are filled with pride, relief, and hope. We provide transport for children who board and ensure that there is never a time that they cannot return to school because they cannot get there. With the realization that the education will be uninterrupted, the children are free to learn and to grow, and through this comes a greater sense of hope for the future. This access to education is a building block for happy and self-reliant futures. Once you provide access to education, there are other issues that come to light. These are mostly related to health and sanitation. If the children are ill, they will not go to school. If they lack soap for washing their bodies or their uniforms, they cannot go to school. So we've incorporated personal and family hygiene packs into the delivery of school requirements and worked with families and communities to implement preventative health initiatives like mosquito nets, water treatment, and comprehensive health checks. We also assess and address emergency or non-planned issues that arise, such as when one family's home was destroyed in a fire. It was Forget-Me-Not supporters that provided the funding that built a new home for that family. The Nanna Project is made up of 27 children and young adults from 14 families. You have seen their faces. Nambi, who is studying to be a secretary at a vocational training centre. Nazif, who at the end of this year will have completed a 2-year vocational course in social work and social development. Nelson, who has completed his motor mechanics training and is currently obtaining field training and experience with a local business. Waiter, Stella and Joseph are all boarding in quality secondary schools. Prosy, Barbara and Nicholas board in specialist primary schools that provide an education that supports their vision and hearing needs. Sharifa, Proskovia, Waiswa, Marian, Rajab, Sayidi, Mariam, Nangulbi, Susan, Zaina, Chigeni, Elvis, Susan, Tina, Mary, Carlos, Regan, and Timothy are all in different stages of their primary education and attend schools in their communities. What the Nanna Project does is to bring hope to families. It keeps families together. Through the commitment of our sponsors, children are supported to remain connected to their families, community, and language whilst receiving an education. It shapes a pathway to a hopeful future. The children and their families are the Nanna Project. They are part of Forget-Me-Not, and together we are working to ensure they are thriving, vibrant, and connected to family, community, and opportunity. Thank you. To find out more about how you can help, visit our website or contact us by email.